In March 2018, a 54-year-old teacher named Carol Marsh kept a sleep diary for her doctor. Every night, 8 hours, sometimes 9. She tracked it obsessively. And every single morning, she woke up feeling like she hadn't slept at all. Her doctor ran basic blood work. Everything came back normal. He told her to exercise more. She already ran 3 times a week. He told her to cut caffeine. She already stopped at noon. Nobody could explain it, and Carol was not alone. Her neurologist eventually ran a sleep study. What they found on that readout, the actual graph of her brain waves through the night, changed how she thought about sleep forever. Because she wasn't sleeping badly. She was sleeping wrong. And there's a difference. A difference that most doctors never explain. A difference that affects tens of millions of people right now. Roughly 1 in 3 adults over 45 reports waking unrefreshed despite adequate sleep hours. The problem is not duration, it is depth. And science has finally figured out why. This is Longevity Lab. We dig into the science of living longer, and sleeping better is where it starts. 1. Your deep sleep is quietly disappearing. Think about the last time you woke up feeling genuinely restored. Not just rested, restored. For most people over 45, that memory is years old. Here is why. Sleep is not one thing. It is a series of stages cycling through your night. Light sleep, deep, slow-wave sleep, and REM. Deep sleep is where your brain flushes toxins, where muscles repair, where memory consolidates. And after age 45, you lose roughly 2% of your deep, slow-wave sleep every decade. 2%. Every decade. Gone. Researchers at UC Berkeley found that adults in their 50s get up to 70% less deep sleep than they did in their 20s. That is not a minor dip. That is a structural collapse. The brain waves that define deep sleep, called delta waves, simply generate less power as you age. You can lie in bed for 8 hours and spend almost none of it in genuine restorative sleep. You're cycling through light sleep, waking briefly, drifting back, and your brain never hits the depths it needs. Carol's sleep study showed exactly this. She was sleeping 8 hours, but her deep sleep stages lasted less than 40 minutes total. The rest was shallow, almost useless for recovery. What this means for you: total hours are a lie. Quality is everything. Start tracking your sleep stages. Free apps like Sleep Cycle give rough estimates. If your deep sleep feels low, the next points explain why. 2. Inflammation is hijacking your sleep architecture. Here is where it gets darker. Deep sleep loss doesn't just happen because of age. Something is actively destroying it. And most people have no idea it's happening inside them right now. Chronic low-grade inflammation. You can't feel it. There's no fever, no obvious symptom. But at a cellular level, your immune system is sending out a constant low hum of inflammatory signals, cytokines, that directly interfere with slow-wave sleep. They fragment it, shorten it, pull you out of it before your brain has finished its work. 84% of adults over 50 show measurable markers of chronic inflammation on standard blood tests. A landmark 2019 study from the University of Pittsburgh found that elevated interleukin-6, one key inflammatory marker, predicted poor sleep quality more reliably than almost any other factor tested. This wasn't correlation. Researchers manipulated inflammation levels experimentally and watched deep sleep collapse in real time on EEG readouts. The mechanism is brutal. Cytokines activate your hypothalamus, the brain's thermostat, which slightly raises core body temperature at night, and your brain cannot enter deep sleep unless your core temperature drops. Inflammation keeps it artificially elevated, so you hover in shallow sleep all night, exhausted but never going deep. This is the hidden engine behind morning fatigue for millions of people over 45. Micro-action. Tomorrow morning, before coffee, drink 12 ounces of cold water. It sounds trivial. It lowers core body temperature slightly and blunts the morning cortisol inflammation spike. Small, real, free. 3. Your cortisol clock is misfiring. There is a hormone supposed to wake you up gently. It rises slowly in the final hour of sleep, peaks just after dawn, and peels you out of sleep naturally to alert, clear, ready. That hormone is cortisol. And in millions of people over 45, it is firing at the wrong time. Too early, too sharply. Harvard researchers studying circadian rhythms found that disrupted cortisol timing was one of the strongest predictors of subjective morning fatigue, even in people who slept 7 to 9 hours, 37%. That is the fraction of adults over 50 whose cortisol peaks more than 90 minutes before their natural wake time. It means your stress hormone is surging while you're still in your last sleep cycle, yanking you out of whatever restorative depth you had managed to reach. You wake up with your heart already slightly elevated, brain already buzzing, body already in mild fight or flight, and you feel it as exhaustion. Because physiologically, you were startled awake every morning by your own chemistry. The culprit? Light exposure at night. Specifically, blue spectrum light after 9 p.m. resets your cortisol clock forward, telling your brain that dawn is earlier than it is. Your phone, your TV, the overhead lights in your kitchen, all of them are quietly shifting your cortisol surge into the middle of your sleep. Micro-action. Tonight, switch all overhead lights off by 9 p.m. Use one warm lamp. This one habit, maintained for 3 nights, measurably shifts cortisol timing back toward the correct window. 4. Adenosine debt is accumulating faster than you think. Every hour you are awake, a chemical called adenosine builds up in your brain. This is sleep pressure. It is the biological signal that makes you feel genuinely tired by nightfall. When you sleep, adenosine clears. You wake up with a clean slate. Except, here is what almost nobody talks about. Caffeine does not clear adenosine. It only blocks the receptors that detect it. When caffeine wears off, all that adenosine you ignored floods back in at once. The average American over 50 carries an adenosine debt equal to 90 minutes of missed deep sleep every single morning. The NIH National Institute on Aging published findings in 2020 showing that accumulated adenosine debt disrupts the transition into deep sleep even when total sleep time looks adequate on a tracker. The brain enters sleep, but adenosine backlog from days of inadequate clearing pushes it toward lighter stages, as if the brain is rushing through the restorative phases rather than settling into them. This is compounded by the single most common mistake people make, the weekend sleep-in. You stay up late Friday, sleep until 9 a.m. Saturday, and think you've recovered. You haven't. You've shifted your adenosine rhythm forward and made Monday morning harder. Consistency of wake time matters more than total hours. Far more. Micro-action. Set your alarm for the same time tomorrow as a weekday, even if it's Saturday. This one change protects your adenosine rhythm more than any supplement ever could. 5. Your mitochondria are sleeping on the job. This is the one most people never hear. Even when you do get deep sleep, when your brain waves are good, your cortisol timing is right, your adenosine is clear, you can still wake up exhausted. Because the cells that manufacture your energy, your mitochondria, are underperforming. Mitochondria are the cellular engines that convert oxygen and nutrients into ATP, the actual fuel your body and brain run on. And after 45, mitochondrial efficiency drops. Cells that once produced abundant energy now run at reduced capacity. Mitochondrial function declines by approximately 10% per decade after age 40. A 2021 study from Stanford University found a direct link between mitochondrial efficiency and sleep recovery quality. People with lower mitochondrial output reported greater morning fatigue regardless of sleep duration. The connection is mechanical. Deep sleep is metabolically expensive for the brain. Clearing toxins, consolidating memory, repairing cellular damage, all of this requires ATP. When your mitochondria can't supply enough, your brain cuts the process short. It exits deep sleep prematurely because it has run out of fuel to sustain it. This is why some people respond dramatically to targeted nutrition, not because it's magic, but because it restores the raw fuel supply that deep sleep actually needs. Micro-action. Eat a small portion of dark leafy greens with dinner tonight. The magnesium in spinach and kale directly supports mitochondrial ATP synthesis. No pill, no powder, just food. 6. The temperature window nobody talks about. Your brain has a precise thermal requirement for entering deep sleep. Core body temperature must drop by approximately 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius in the first 90 minutes after you fall asleep. This is not optional. This is the physiological trigger for slow-wave sleep. Miss that window, and your brain stays in lighter stages all night. Most people over 45 are missing it, not because of a disorder, because of a bedroom that is 2 degrees too warm. 68 degrees Fahrenheit. That is the upper limit for optimal deep sleep onset. Researchers at the University of South Australia confirmed in 2022 that even small increases in ambient bedroom temperature, just 2 to 3 degrees above the optimal range, reduced slow-wave sleep duration by up to 26%. 26% lost because of a thermostat setting. The good news, this is the single most immediately fixable variable in your entire sleep environment. It costs nothing if you can open a window, and the effect is measurable within the very first night. Micro-action. Tonight, lower your bedroom temperature to 65 to 68 degrees before bed. If you can't control the thermostat, crack a window or run a small fan pointed away from you. 1 degree of cooling can shift your entire night. Here is what you do starting tonight. 3 steps, 0 cost. Step 1. Light discipline. After 9 p.m., no overhead lights. 1 warm lamp only. This resets cortisol timing within 3 nights and costs you nothing. Step 2. Temperature first. Set your bedroom to 65 to 68 degrees before you lie down. Open a window. Use a fan. The 1 degree difference can recover up to 26% of your lost deep sleep. Step 3. Lock your wake time. Pick 1 wake time and keep it every single day, including weekends. No exceptions for 1 week. This rebuilds your adenosine rhythm from the ground up. 7 days. That is all it takes to start feeling the difference. Do all three together, and you are addressing inflammation timing, cortisol misfire, adenosine debt, and thermal sleep onset simultaneously. No supplements, no gadgets, just biology, finally working with you instead of against you. Now you know why 8 hours isn't always 8 hours. But here is something else. The food you eat in the 4 hours before bed is actively reshaping your deep sleep chemistry in ways that go far beyond caffeine. There is one specific compound found in common dinner foods that blocks adenosine clearance at a cellular level. We cover exactly what it is and what to eat instead in our next video. Don't miss it.